Okay. So do we have any questions regarding last session?
Can you please explain the design part once again?
Okay. A design part means Mule flow, no?
Yeah, move flow, starting from request flow to end flow.
Okay. Okay, fine. So first one is clearer. So this is the inbound connector. Actually, each and every flow. So flow is nothing but it's a combination of message process. Flow is nothing but a combination of message process. Message processor is nothing but a the mule component. Each component is nothing but a message process. Why we call as a message processor? Each and every component message will flow automatically. It will follow SADA driven architecture. So each and every component automatically follow. Sorry.
Only SCADA architecture is there, or any other architecture is also design? Only event driven architecture.
So this mule flow message is related to SATA driven architecture. So there are so many design patterns in this actually. We're not at started like scatter gather, like so many design patterns are there. Totally around 65 design patterns in this mule.
Okay.
But this mule flow is related. Flow in the flow. So event that message is automatically flow. No need to do anything. So this arrow symbol is there. Internally what happened when the message is coming to HTTP connector, internally the event will fire. Further no need to do anything. They already done. So when the data is coming to the HTTP connector, automatically fire the event. It will push to the next component. Then here also similarly again event will fire internally, then it will push to the next component. Like that it will flow automatically. Whatever the direction is showing in the arrow, right? So according to that it will flow.
One question. One question is that,
Yeah.
like what you are saying is it is entirely event architecture, right?
Okay.
So Mule is getting a message. This flow is fine,
Hmm.
but then Mule send data to some other external system. Like if it needs to retrieve data from the system,
Hmm.
event is not firing.
Hmm.
Then how can you design the flow?
So you mean to say you are fetching the information from the target system, right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
You are not pushing information, you are fetching the information. So further there is a separate connectors are there. Like for example, there is a queue. There is a queuing mechanism like ActiveMQ or else RabbitMQ or else Amazon SQS. There is a queues are there. So Mule is trying to pull the message from the queue. Okay, now further there is a separate connectors are there. AQMS. Example AQMS. AQMS one connector is there actually. So using that connector will subscribe the queue. Means whatever the queue name, whatever the client ID, secret ID for that will mention in the connector, AQMS connector or else VM connector. So this is also VM connector, and other one is there actually. So using that will if you subscribe the queue, so then whenever queue available in the queue that message is available, it will trigger automatically if you subscribe the queue. Understood?
Okay,
In the
okay, okay.
in the inbound connector, we have to drag and drop the VM connector. So we'll subscribe the message. Means will subscribing means will mention the queue name and client ID, secret ID for that queue. Okay. So whenever the queue in the queue that particular queue message is available, it will automatically trigger it. Actually, internally it will keep on checking. So message is there or not. If the message is there, it will pull out automatically. Once pull out, so based on acknowledgement, that will remove from the queue also. Understood? No need to do anything. So that subscription is required. Whenever the subscription is happen, automatically message full. So no interaction, no manual interaction is not required. Is it clear?
Storing elephant queue or a rabbit MQ in our silver.
So that whatever the third party, right, ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ, Amazon SQLs, so many queuing mechanisms are there, right? Every queuing mechanism is behaving like that only. Okay, na? So in that also, once
Okay.
you subscribe the message, once you got the message from the queue, then next level is same actually. It will push to next level, next component. In the component, whatever you written logic, that will execute it accordingly. Here in this particular flow, we are trying to hit to the HTTP connector. You are clear? In this flow, so we kept there is a HTTP connector. So we are hitting to the HTTP connector. So based on this remote address, then port number, then either it's a post method or get method. If it is a get method, we are retrieving the message from the server, or else we are retrieving from the data from middleware. Then if it is a post method, then we are pushing some information to the server, or else we are pushing to the some information to target system. Clear? So that is the first component in the Mule. So this is a two-way direction actually. If you see here, so you can see the direction symbol. So two-way direction. So it will take the message. It will take the message. Similarly, it will send the message also. Once it will process, so finally it will get the message. It's kind of a synchronous process actually. It will hit the request, it will wait for the response until unless whole operation is done. It will wait for us, then it will send the response. It's kind of synchronous. You are clear first component, right? Do you want any explanation on that? Why you kept this HTTP component in the inbound place?
Okay.
Okay, fine. So next component, coming to next component. Here my requirement is I'm giving the information, I'm pushing the information to the flow, I mean, or else server you can say. So means here I'm using a post method. So this is the JSON format. I'm trying to hit the information to the middleware. Okay. So whenever we get it, we are sending the format as a JSON. I will explain this tool, no worry. So once it will finish the flow, then again I will explain this Chrome plugin. Okay, I'm sending the information to the middleware. So that time what happened? It will hit this according to your URL, whatever the URL mentioned, whatever the method, same thing we have to mention here. That HTTP configuration, according to HTTP configuration, we have to enter the URL and the port number and the method. And then if the header is required, you have to pass it. Then it is a post method, right? That's why you have to push some body. That was the difference. If you keep it a get method, so there is no body further. See this, nothing is there here. Body is not required because we are trying to get the information from the middleware. For that, no body is required. So but in case of post method, we are trying to hit some information to a middleware. So that's why, so we need to send some information. It was expecting some information when you go for post. Okay, so that is the difference between post and get. Yeah, tell me.
We can send farm data. This farm encoded raw data and binary data, JSON data. These are the input types, right?
Yes, whatever the format, so you can send it. Generally here, whenever you choose the raw only, that time only it will come body. otherwise it won't come body. That is any this Postman client uh, Postman client, it's a third party tool. So there is
Okay.
other tools also there, not only Postman client. There is one more is a
Okay.
REST client. Another one is
Yes,
SOAP
right.
client. SOAP UI is there, na? SOAP UI.
Yeah,
SOAP
yeah.
UI.
Use
So
it.
that one also there. Okay.
Okay.
Using so this why I am using this tool exclusively for post methods actually. So because our browser not support post methods. Okay now. So browser will support only get method. So it won't support post method. We can't able to send the body, right? If you try to hit it, so we can't able to, it was expecting the body, but we can't able to send through a browser that body information. You are clear? So that's why here we are using this a Postman client. It is a plugin for Chrome. Okay. See, generally in real time how it will happen. So as I'm for testing middleware only we are using this plugin. But really how it will happen end-to-end integration. So there is a GUI, From the GUI they're trying to hit the button or else something else. So when they hit the button, then that will talk to your MuleSoft. Understood? That is an end-to-end integration. But whereas in here, there is no GUI here. That's why we took a this type of plugin, this type of tool, external tool. Then we are trying to hit. It's like a how GUI will hit the request. Similarly, we are trying to hit the request. In future, whatever you are sending this information to hit the middleware, same information it will come from the GUI. You're clear. Until unless the GUI is ready, your part is checking like this actually. Whatever you done that middleware work, how will test it your middleware is working or not. So we have to use this type of external tools like REST client, Postman client, SOAP UI kind of thing. Okay, now. So that's the thing here. First one is that then here we are sending a JSON format. We are sending a JSON data. So that's why we are trying to convert that. So this component is talks about JSON to hash map. We are trying to convert into JSON. After getting the JSON, we are trying to convert it to hash map. So java.util.hashmap. So why you are converting here? If you convert the JSON hash map, then we can easily retrieve the information from the JSON. So how will retrieve? So if you convert into hash map, how the map will work? Key value pairs of kind of thing, right? Key value pairs of kind of thing. If we pass the key, value will get it. Understood? This
In
is
JSON
for,
also only PDF format is there, right?
but that is a string now. That's why JSON is string format.
Okay.
That's why we are trying to convert the hash map. It's look like a key value pair, but it is a string value. If you see here, I will run it in debug mode. I will show you what type will get it. So there is a string format. That's why we are trying to convert into hash map. So this is a purely Java here. So java.util hash map. Hash map is the class under util package. In core Java concept, collections concept, so util package, util is one of the package. In that, hash map is the class, built-in class. So when you convert into JSON to hash map, so next time what happen, we can pass the key, then we can retrieve the value easily. So that's why you convert into JSON to hash map. Okay. So next one is now map is ready. So what we are doing here, I'm doing some custom transformer here. So this is a custom validation. So we have to drag and drop that custom validation here. In that we mention arg.mule.examples. Some input data validator. This is our custom class. I mean our user defined class. So what we are doing in the class, see this, what we are doing in the class. Here my requirement is I want to filter that data, whatever I'm taking from that after getting the data from that right flow, I kept that custom validator. In that custom validator I mentioned the Java class. So there is a provision here, we can keep that class name here. So it will come automatically this Java class. Okay, the Java class is extended from the filter. So filter is a built-in class again. So see the package org.mule.api.routing.filter. That is a package name. No need to do anything for this. That will automatically, whenever you create a project, so core libraries, it will automatically download it. In the core libraries, these are all built-in classes are there. The Java, that MuleSoft related built-in classes already there. So no need to do anything, just simply implements from filter. There is an interface. Okay. So that's why here we are using keyword implements from filter. So when you implement from the filter, what we need to do according to Java, we should override that method. So interface contains built-in methods, right? We should override that methods. Understood? So here I am doing same thing here. So at the rate override, we have to use that annotation. So next one is, this is a overridden method actually, accept. So we are overriding that actually. In that, what we are passing message. Message means here, so mule message is again built-in class. Here message is talking about whatever previous step content is there. No? What was the content? That is JSON to map. Understood? That map, a hash map, holds the data as of now. So that is where it is in the message. In the message that is there. So here in the flow, we are always talking about message. The message contains whatever you are passing the payload. Payload is nothing but again data. We can call it as a feed. Feed also data. Okay. So that message contains whatever the payload we are sending. That payload contains, oh, sorry, message contains that payload. Okay. So that's why we are keeping as a message here. Now, so whatever the previous step, so this JSON to hash map, the data, so is it available in the message? Is it clear? So here I am writing the code, Java code. What I am doing here, nothing, simple steps only here. So in the message, payload is there. What I am doing, what is the type of the message? The type of the message is hash map. We just now we convert it. Now, so I just assign that message to payload map. I was creating a map. Then I'm trying to assign to payload map. So then both types should be same, right? Whatever the message contains payload, right? That payload is what type it is? Map type. So that's why we took a map here. Then I'm trying to assign the data to payload map. You are clear? So now map data is ready in your Java class. Next, what I'm doing here, payload map. Payload map means that holds the data. Whatever you are passing, that holds the data. I'm checking here, payload map. Map contains, there is a property called, Boolean properties called contains key. That is a built-in. No need to do anything. Just if you click a dot, it will show you the list of methods here. So this is the one of the method contains key. So see, this is a list of method it was showing. The contains key. So the functionality of contains key, it will check it. So returns the true if this map contains a mapping for the specified key. Okay, whatever you are passing the data, so it's kind of key value pair, right? If this email is a key, next one is a value, item name is a key, so this one is a value, like that. I'm checking here if the payload map contains an email, right, then it won't raise any issue. If not contains, so I'm using a not symbol here, not a payload map contains email. And what we need to do? So we're intentionally raising a exception through null pointer exception. The message is email is missing. You are getting. So what I'm checking here, I'm taking the key from the JSON format. Okay, I'm checking here. So if whatever you are passing, the key is not there. If the key is not there, then I'm trying to throw an exception. That is null pointer exception. Intentionally we are throwing null pointer exception. So null pointer exception is what again here. So it's a built-in class. Yesterday we discussed about some of the built-in exceptions and the user-defined exception. Built-in exceptions like array index out of bound exception, string index, null pointer, and then so many built-in already existing exceptions are there. So if you want to customize the exception, we can able to create our own exception also. Okay. So yesterday I told exception is a superclass for all the exception. Exception is a superclass for all the exception. So this null pointer is a subclass under exception. So whatever you are passing message, right, that will display as an error message. Email is missing. So here new keyword, what was the purpose of the new keyword? It will create the instance of null pointer exception. So your Java is always talking about objects and classes, right? So here null pointer exception is a built-in class. So then here new is talking about it was trying to create an instance of null pointer exception. Okay. So next one is throw. So throw. What was the use of throw here? Whenever create the instance of null pointer exception, it will throw it actually. For that purpose, you are using throw. You are clear. So it will throw that exception, whatever the exception got created, it will throw to exception strategy. So we
If I
created
want to change in next time,
sorry.
If I want to change anything else in this program, so next time also I need to change only these fields, right? Email. So whatever the fields I do,
Yes,
so
suppose.
the code.
Yeah, suppose as of now we are getting only these 5 fields. So tomorrow client want to add one more field. What we need to do? So then we need to check. We need to change this. We need to add one more field in this. We need to add one more. I mean, if you based on requirement actually, if it is a mandatory field, you need to check it. If it is optional field, no need to check it. Here, how many fields I am checking? 1, 2, 3. 3 fields I am checking. So remaining fields are ignored because it's a optional fields kind of thing. Suppose user was sending so these many fields, but in this some of the fields are mandatory, some of the fields are optional. So whatever the mandatory we have to take care. Optional, either user will send or not. If he send the value, then we have to take it. If not if we didn't send it, then accordingly we have to build it. Okay, as of now, any questions? I'm taking the value, I'm just checking the value, checking the key is there, then do something. If not, then raise exception. So when the exception is raised, where it will go? So that will automatically go to the exception strategy. So anything happen in the flow, so that will jump to the exception strategy. So now something is wrong in this performance custom validation. That contains key is not there. Then where it will go? It will go to the choice exception strategy. Yeah, tell me.
In the caching section, we need to drag and drop this data view component every time.
It's not every time. That's what I'm saying about. So your logic will demand, your code will demand actually what component you should use. Your code will demand. Your code will decide. Your requirement will decide. So here I'm using this data wave component, that is nothing but a transfer component. First it will check the condition actually. Exception caused by java.illegal argument exception. That time it will come to this cache flag. If other one is missing data, so whenever we'll get that null pointer exception, See this java.lang.null pointer exception. Whenever you'll get a null pointer exception means that value is not there, then we are intentionally throwing null pointer exception, right? If the key is not there, in the payload map, so then we are throwing null pointer exception, right? When you throw the null pointer exception, it will check which catch block it satisfy. So accordingly it will jump at. So here this we handle the cache block, right? It will come here coming to transform actually. So here we can write some payload or else we can write some transform, whatever it is. We are not sure we should use this, right? So based on your requirement, we can write the some set payload also. In that we can write a missing input data. Generally, when you will go for this transform message, I want to transform the data. Suppose we are getting some Java object. We want to convert into some XML, or else we want to convert into some other CSV format. That time we'll go for transform. Means data wave. But here we can keep it other components also, no issue. So then here simple, so when I get it, so then I just mention a missing data. This is Java. So see this output application type of Java I'm displaying. So
What are
what
the other components you can?
other components we can write application/JSON. Oh, you are talking about other components, right? Yeah, we can keep it as
Yeah.
a payload actually. Here our intention is what? We want to show this message to the user. Understood?
Okay.
We can keep it
Is
either,
it synchronous?
sorry?
Is it synchronous type of thing?
Yes, synchronous only. It won't synchronize. Yeah, once it will come here, it will finish it, it will go next level.
How to know it is synchronous? By seeing only we can identify this one.
No, we can't. So all the components in the MuleSoft almost, I mean, these are all synchronous only. So your logger is there, no? Logger message. That will act
Right.
as asynchronous. Then coming to the your question, so here there is a one asynchronous is there. Async, see this.
Okay.
Sync component is there. So if your requirement is like that, so I don't want to wait for the response. I just hit it, I'll forget it. Understood? So
Okay.
if you want to write logic accordingly, just drag and drop that component. Okay, now in
Can it
this,
be
you
like in the
can,
first place
sorry.
instead of in receive HTTP request place? The
No,
source
that's
system.
not inbound connector. That's what I'm saying. Whatever the inbound connectors, we can keep it in here. If it is
Okay.
not inbound connector, we can't keep it.
In the parser only.
Hmm. No, actually, inside we'll keep it component section. So it's a asynchronous flow. So in that, whatever you want, you can keep it inside. Whatever the flow you want to write in, you can keep it inside. Understood? Whole thing acts as a asynchronous.
Okay.
There is
Only this
asynchronous
block.
process. Yes, only asynchronous. See, my requirement is like this. Whenever user will hit the request, I want to insert the data into some database. Okay, so I need to insert the database, as well as once we inserted successfully, I want to show that message to the user back, right? This starting flow is nothing but a asynchronous, synchronous, right? You hit, user
Yes.
will hit it, he will wait for the response. Understood? That is a synchronous
Yeah. Got it.
process. So now up to here synchronous, when, so now generally what it will happen, it will go here, it won't wait for the response, this set order variable, it will go next level automatically. Here what happen, so this will automatically it will go whatever you functionality implemented inside asynchronous process, that will do parallelly. Then this one also, it will send the response to the user, as well as it will insert the record into database. Means some kind of audit log. I want to send the response to the user, as well as I want to insert the record into audit table. Understood? So no need to wait for this audit table insertion. Once inserted successfully, then we need to show to the data to the user. We are not waiting for that actually. Parallelly, we are doing two things. Once we are showing response to the user, as well as we are inserting data into audit table. Understood? So if it is a synchronous, how it will happen? If you remove this, how it will happen? Once insert the once insert the data into audit table, then come back again. So wait for until unless insert the record, then we'll go for next process. But here it's not like that actually. So we're not waiting. We're just hitting the asynchronous process. Whatever happened inside, we forget it actually. So same thing we are same parallel we are showing response to the user also. You are getting my point.
Yeah, okay.
We are doing parallelly two things. We are trying to insert the data into an audit table. We are trying to show the response to the user. If your requirement is like that, we can use that asynchronous process. Then you can keep inside whatever you want to logic. So now we can easily identify after seeing. You are using word after seeing, right? So after seeing, you can easily identify, oh, this is the asynchronous process. You are clear? Okay, so next where we are. So yes, so this is a transform. In this transform, what we did, missing input data, we mentioned that one. Next one is set payload. In the set payload, what we are doing, again missing input data. So what payload we will get it? So now payload is this, right? That whatever the payload we are getting, that payload we are displaying. Whatever the previous step we are getting data, right? So that dynamically we are getting the data, then we are displaying the data to the user. Okay, now that's what this. Next, up to here I was explaining this component custom validator. After that, what happened if it is a success? Suppose your payload contains email, it won't raise that, then it will go to the next step. What we are doing here, set order variable here. In the set order variable, so what we are doing, whatever the payload you are getting, that payload I am holding into order variable. This order is nothing but a unit name, so one variable. So this is a type of variable, so different types of variable. Yeah, sorry,
It is a flow variable or session variable? What type of
it's a flow
variable is?
variable. It's a flow variable only. See this? So it's a flow variable only. So mostly we can't use session variable because it's a memory related. So whenever if really required, then we will go for session variable. So the scope is
Like
different
regex.
actually. The scope is different. If you keep it a flow variable, the scope of the flow variable is only within this flow. Okay. If you
Okay.
keep it a session variable, the scope of this session variable is entire your application wherever. So your
Okay.
application have multiple. Sorry, your XML have multiple flows, right? Suppose here choice error handling. Here I have one more flow. 2-3 flows are there. So subflow is there, private flow is there. Okay. In that wherever you can wherever you want that information, we can retrieve it actually. But if it is a flow variable, the scope of that message, scope of that value is only within the flow. That's what the difference. This is a normal
When
flow variable. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, when to use this session variable like in connectors or
Like
do we need?
that's what I'm saying. So if you want to use same variable in the multiple flows, then we can go for session variable. My requirement is something in the uh, we are getting data. So this email is entire application, entire flows I want to use it, not only within this flow. Wherever I want to use that email, I have to use that variable. Then that time we will define as a session variable, because if you keep it that email into session variable, right? So that keep on available wherever if you go subflow, if you go what we call private flow, so wherever you go, so that session variable is available. Just we'll use that this name is there now. So session vars dot order, we can, when you type session vars dot order, we'll get that value. Understood? Whatever you mention, whatever you hold it, that value will get it. That is a scope is different actually. Like if you go for Java, in the Java, local variable is there, then global variable is there, then coming to class level variable is there, right? If it is a local variable means within a method we will define that variable. The scope of that variable is within that method. Suppose I return a logic connection, database connection. So in the class I mentioned there is a method called connect. In the connector top level I define a variable called into some age, something like that. The scope of the age is within a method. If you try to access outside, then it won't understand what was the variable of that age. Understood? Means the scope of that local variable is what? Only within the method. It's not outside the method. So similarly, the class level variable, if you define a class, Java class, if you declare variable top of that, the scope of the variable is entire the class. So not only particular method, you can use any method that variable, class level variable. Understood? Means the scope of that variable is entire class. So here also there is a flow variable, session variable. The flow variable, the scope of the flow variable is within a flow. The scope of the session variable is not only the flow, wherever you are calling flows, right? Calling flows means subflow, private flow. Wherever you want to use that session variable, you can pass that session vars dot key. So means that unique name, this name, then you will get the value. Session vars dot order. Now this is a flow var. Flow vars dot order. When you keep it, there is a Mule expression MEL. Flow vars dot order. Then you will get the value. You are clear this component. This is a variable component. This is a custom validator. This is a transformer, you can say. So transformer means it was trying to convert from JSON to hash map. This is an inbound connector. Up to here, hope you are clear all the components. Okay, thank you. So next one is again I'm keeping a set to payload. So this is a set to payload. See, when you go for set payload generally, so most of the time we'll go for set to payload only. Set to payload, so it will hold the data. It will hold the data actually. So it will hold the data. If you want to display on the browser also, you can display it actually on the browser. Suppose this is a last step in your flow. Think like this. This is the last step in your flow. So if you keep it a data in the flow, in the set payload, that will show on the browser also. Most of the time we'll use set payloads. Means it holds the payload. Whatever the previous step data is there, that will hold it. So we can't say only payload only holds the data. We can use expression, you can use variable, you can use based on requirement actually. So next one is payload. So this holds again data actually. How we are holding here? Payload of email. See this payload of email. So that payload is a map now. So payload of email means what? So that will come value of that email. We are passing key, right? Payload total data is in the form of hash map. After this step, in the form of hash map, right? If you pass the email, then it will give the email value. Understood? So we are passing within a square bracket, within a single quotes we have to pass email. When I pass like that, so it will give email value. Whatever you are passing email value, now that @ something like that. So it will give that value. So now that set payload holds the email value. Next again I'm doing so validate email. So because here so people will ask so validation kind of thing. Suppose our QA people will test, will remove the @ symbol, they will try it. It should not happen, right? It is a email. So email basic validation is that @ symbol should be there. Understood? @ symbol, the dot symbol should be there. So that type of validation we need to do. So that's why here, so there is a reg expression, regular expression is there now. That regular expression I am using here. Here again component is the regular expression. Regex means regular expression. So there is a pattern, we can check it actually, right? If you pass that pattern, so it will check it is that email format or not. Okay. In the regular expression, what we are doing, we are checking that it is that email format or not. Previously we hold that email, right, that we are passing here. Here we'll check it actually. This is the email pattern, regular expression, you can check it. This is will get from Google also, no need to write anything. That is a format to validate the email. Okay now. So next one is after regular expression, what we are doing, if it is in the form of email, then what we are doing, we just hold that input data. Input data validation is passed. That's it. If anything is wrong in the flow, so again it's a set payload. Anything is wrong in the flow, it will jump to here. Accordingly, it will execute. So now tell me, so any unknown component in this flow, if you are not aware that why you use that component here, so then I will explain you what was the purpose of the component when you will go for that component.
Where we are setting the endpoint, like so it is sending response back to the HTTP.
Yes, automatically, because see here can you see this line? There is a line is there, it will take it, it will respond back. That will taken care by your inbound connector. Your inbound connector acts as a two-way direction. It will take the input, it will process it, it will respond it. The responsibility of that HTTP connector is that. So if you see, if you type any URL in the Google, right, in the browser, suppose if you open that some browser, you are trying to hit something, right, you are trying google.com, right, so what happened internally, you are using protocol HTTP, right, so most of the people will use HTTP protocol in the browser, in the whatever the request and response kind of thing. So what happened, it will take the request, it will give the response. The functionality of that HTTP protocol is that. Okay, tell me, you are asking something.
Okay. What I was in the set payload, how it knows that this is the endpoint. So by default, it is getting the drag and design view.
Yeah,
So
so but set payload don't know. So this will know. If you see this direction, first time itself this arrow will come. We are adding the logic keep on here. So if you add one more thing, this dotted line is coming with that component, not this. It will break it, it will go there.
if it is ending with an asynchronous component, so it won't send any response back, right?
Yes. Let me check. See this. I will add asynchronous here. Did you see?
Yeah.
So where is the response come back? Here itself, it won't ignore. Generally, if it is wait for asynchronous, that will come here, right?
Okay.
Understood.
Yeah, got it.
Hmm. Sudha, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just once click on HTTP connect. What is the path you have given?
Sorry, I'm not getting.
No, there is no path here. So only you have given me. I'm just trying to understand the path, which path you have.
Path. Okay. So generally here, I just mention a slash actually. If you want to see, if you see how can I am hitting after slash, I'm not passing anything. Suppose, so if you keep a base path is, we can call it as a base path. So I kept like this. Okay. This time what happened, when you hit the URL, you have to pass that base path. You are clear? If there is no base path, I just mention a slash. That's why I'm not giving anything. There is a URL framing actually. Suppose here, if you see, I just mentioned a google.com. See, so google.com is it's a main URL. After that, we are getting something, but is anyway encrypted format. If you see any other URL like just see this HTTP something like this. There is a there is a IP address, the port number. After port number, you are getting something smart data or something like this. After port number. That is we can mention as a base path actually. You are clear. So here in the connector we are keeping local host, port number, something like that, right? So still you can pass something like this here. After that, if you want to keep it, you can keep it.
So whatever data we have given in Josh, so
Okay.
how it was mapping to the HTTP.
Yeah, that's what. So it will map based on this. This is a configuration of HTTP connector, right? The local host 8076, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
So
see, generally let me check. Let me tell you one thing. So here we are enter facebook.com, right? So how it will connect to Facebook? How it will connect to Facebook? So internally what happened? That Facebook will run on the cluster environment with some particular port number, right? Or else it's a cluster environment. By default 80 is a port number. When you click it with the domain name, it will match the domain name, so it will hit to the particular server. The server will run with this port number, with this domain name. So domain name means internally some IP address is there. There is a static IP address is there. So there is a public IP address is there. When you hit it, so that will connect to that server. Similarly here also what I'm doing. So when you hit the local host with port number something, so my flow is running. Local host is the IP address. We can say. I mean we are in local. That's why there is no IP. Local host means 127.0.0.1 is also port number of this local host. Next port number 8076 is the port number. So with that information, your server is running. Your Jetty server. What we say. So your Jetty server is running. So that's why based on this, it will hit to the whoever running with the port number 708 8076, it will connect it. Understood? Now the server is down. I'm trying to hit it. Let me see. See what we are getting? Could not get any response. So because nothing is running with this port number and this with this local host. Yes, obviously. Jetty is yesterday. I mean, yesterday I guess I told you about that. Internally, it will run with the Jetty server actually. So generally, if you see Eclipse, we need to add the Tomcat plugin. Then we can deploy your application into Tomcat. But here internally, they add it actually automatically. That Jetty server will come. When you deploy run as Mule application, internally it will deploy it into Jetty server. So it's a lightweight server actually. So no need to add any plugin for that. That will automatically your AnyPoint Studio have that. So then we deployed it. If the server is running, when you hit it, then it will hit to your HTTP component. So you are clear? Am I answered your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what about this. I'm trying to deploy this application, run as Mule application.
Venkat, can you explain the screen, the console, where to identify the error path and
Yeah, any error happened here. Here you can see. Now see, nothing is there actually. You can see the status actually. Anything is wrong here, failed, F-A-I-L-E-D, failed will come. If it is
Okay.
deployed successfully, status showing deployed. Here you can check the server logs actually. What happened? Any error will come, it will show you, it will show here. If error is not come, the server's logs and all, it will display like this. Anything error will come that showing as error with stack trace and all. With the message it will show what was happening there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now no issue, then status is deployed. If any issue, status is failed. So then until unless you resolve that issue, you can't able to deploy it. So when you try to yeah, tell me.
If it is an deploying on cloud, like cloud environment, how to identify that one? Log message.
That server logs we need to check it actually. So in our the concept is done actually. There is second session I was explaining her. So
Okay.
here we are, this is a plugin for Eclipse. This Anypoint Studio we deployed here, right? So there is a MMC standalone server is there actually. So that will like see, this is a server is there actually. Mule server is there, MuleSoft server. We have to log in here. We have to deploy here actually. We have to deploy your application here. Okay, now these are all running apps in the server. So we have to deploy there. We have to deploy there. So we have to run the application. Then that time it will connect there. That is a cluster environment. We have to keep it. We have to set up cluster environment. We have to keep it multiple servers, right? Multiple nodes you can keep it.
Load balancing and fault tolerance, all those.
Yes, that is they will these people will give admin console actually, so we can check their actual admin rights they will give. So everything, just now I logged in, right? I logged in, right? So in that we
I
can check everything actually. So even they are displaying graphs also, how the performance happened, in which flow taking more time. We can check all these things there.
that is analytics, right? Analytics, I think.
Yeah, analytics kind of thing. That will taken care by admin actually. Admin will check
That
it.
one?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Developer won't have any permission to check. We are responsible for our component, right? So we can deploy and we can
Yeah,
check
what
our
we'll
own.
do, that is based on company actually. So if you go for Cisco, something like that, so there are separate people for deployment. What we need to do as a developer, just we'll share that zip file. So right click on this
Uh,
project, right click on the project. So export as a archivable file, export as a Anypoint Studio deployable archival file. This will export it, then we'll share that file to the whoever responsibility to deploy the application into server. We'll share that zip file to the
jar file or POP file or
zip,
ER file?
it's not jar file actually, zip ZIP,
Zip file only,
zip
okay.
file
So
only.
always the output of the program will be in a zip file only. We will export to the server.
Yes. Not
Okay.
export actually, export your from Mule application and will share to the admin guy. He will deploy into server.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now deploy it successfully. Then we'll test it. So I will deploy in debug mode. Let me check step by step what will happen. Debug as Mule application. Yes. Okay, your server got successfully deployed. Okay. Then we are trying to hit it. I just keep a debugger here. Toggle breakpoint wherever you want. You kept the toggle breakpoint. Just click done. Now check it. So it's got stopped here. So now see this, how the type here. See, we are getting something like that. So your this HTTP connector giving some r dot glassfish dot something buffer input stream, it was giving data, whatever you are passing. So then I'm converting into, see here, step by step you can see next processor F6. Okay, now see this, what type it is. Now the data type is hash map. Okay, now next here it will go your Java. We can keep the debug in Java also. So how we'll keep the debug in Java? Just we have to click left side here, then debug will come. You are clear, right? There is a Java debug. Okay, now so next step, if you click the next step, it will change here. See, now it is switch perspective, means that is a Java debug, right? It will change the perspective, it will go there. Now see, now the debug is coming to Java. That is not in the Mule, right? That is not in the flow. So next one is, we can now check the payload map, what it is. Whatever you are sending, right, the whole payload is coming here now. Now the payload is nothing but a hash map. Here is the value. Whatever it passing, that is in the form of key value pair. Next we can check step by step. So here is how we'll check the step by step. Step by step is F5, F6, step over. Click this, you can check it step by step. So the value is there, that's why it's not throwing any exception. Next step. So finally it will return true. Everything is fine, it will return true. Then click that. Again where it will go? Sorry, it will still in the, it will go inside. Then we will click this resume button. Now where it will go? It will come to the mail flow. Perspective got changed. Okay. Now it is come back to the Mule flow. Understood how it will switch from Java to Mule. Okay. So now where it is under variables. Now still hash map. Then clicks next processor. See this? This is a variable data. A variable contains data or not. We can check here actually. Here there is a variable button is there. No? Click that variable. You can see that variable is there or not. See this? Variable contains total payload actually. Total payload I am assigning to variable. So these are the inbound properties. So many inbound properties are getting. So the variable is order. We just created order. The order contains what? Total payload, right? The total payload is nothing but what? That 5 values, right? So even I'm assigning total payload to variable, right? So that's why total payload having that variable. Next time what here? So what we are doing? We are trying to fetch what we called this email we are getting, right? Let me check. You can check like this also. So there is a symbol called can you see this symbol x plus y kind of thing? Evaluate Mule expression. Click that. There is a pop-up. We'll get it. So we can check like this. See this? If you have any questions, syntax type of questions, we can open this window. Click the symbol x plus y. So that will open in the debug mode only. It won't open normal mode, it will open debug mode only. Open that. So then search like this. First we can see what payload we are getting. See the payload, we can get the payload. In this payload, how we are getting, total size of the payload is 5. In this, what is the key? If you pass the key, we'll get the value. Suppose here key is what? Email. We can pass the email here. How we'll pass it is it's a map, right? We have to pass within a single quotes under bracket, what we call the square bracket. Okay, then we will get the value. Understood? Payload of value means it's map. That's why we are passing key, then we'll get it. click escape, this window will gone. So next one is what? That's got paused, right? It will go next level. So here what? We are doing validation of that email. So that will taken care by, no need to do anything. So the component will taken care by validation, because this is a regular expression. We are giving some pattern of that. In this pattern, the responsibility of the pattern is it will validate it, the email is in the format or not. Okay, so next step is what? Once everything is cool, it will go next level. So finally it will display the payload. Go and check it. So what we are getting? Input data validation is passed.
Payload,
Tell me.
in set payload, can we use multiple payloads, like
Yes.
multiple variables?
Yes, we can use it.
So if that is the case, we can go to, so if the second payload won't come, right, in the design view?
That's what. So the time what happened, generally we'll play with only one payload at a time. If you want, if our requirement is like that, what we need to do, so we have to take parallelly two payloads, right? So we hold it into some variables. Just now I hold, there is a, in order what I kept it, there is a payload here, right? In order to total payload I hold it, right? You can take one more variable, you can hold it different. Next time onwards, what we are not talking about payload, we are talking about variable. Order contains payload. Similarly, one more order, order 1, order 2. Order 1 contains first payload, order 2 contains second payload. We'll hold it. We'll play accordingly. We'll play whatever you want, which payload you want. Then you can call that variable. You can play it.
Okay.
Clear. So let me check a wrong value and how it will work. I'm not passing email, right? If I remove the email, let me check. I'm not passing the email. How it will behave? Just clicking this, go it. Okay. Next step. Here it will go to Java. It should got failed right now. So next step it will go. It should fail here. Step over. See this, now it will go. I mean, you are not passing email, right? That's why it will go to the throw new null point exception. Switch perspective. See this, got error, right? Yesterday somebody was asking how will identify where we will get the error. Now see this, the red dotted line is coming. Okay,
Okay.
now so then where it will go? It should go to the null point exception. Where you keep the null point exception? Where you handle it? So here we handle. Let me check. Okay now, so where it will get it? That is not the flow. Where it will jump. Wherever you handle that catch block, now it will jump here. Is it clear? We got the error here. It will jump accordingly here. Then what we are next step is what? I just invalid data I mentioned there. It will go to the next step. We are displaying here. That's it. Now see.
Printed in data view, instead of this data view, can I put logger component or echo
Yes, yes,
component?
yes. Whatever you want, you can keep it.
So what makes the difference when I use this data view and that one, logger?
Logger you can see in console only, na. So if you keep a logger, you can see here. If you keep a transform, and transform is pushing to data to next thing, right? Logger we
Okay.
can't see in the data in the here itself actually. We can see only in the logger. But if you display in the logger, what was the use? What was the use? Tell me. So you can see as a developer you can see, but how user will see? Understood? So see this here, null pointer is raised, email is missing.
Hmm.
This one only now we handle. So I catch this, I catch this. I was checking here actually in the catch block. I was checking here exception dot caused by what? Your exception. Caused by your exception. Understood? When this satisfied, so then it will jump to here. Okay. So then it will go here. It will display it.
payload where it is sending the data to actually.
Back. So where you expected, it will go, it will come back. So this is a post method, right? So if you are using browser, it will display on the browser.
Okay.
So any questions? You are clear? So how will handle the exception? How will catch the
Clear.
exception? How will handle the catch blocks in the multiple in the choice? How will keep multiple choice, multiple catch blocks? Why you need to keep multiple catch blocks? How the flow will execute when the exception got clear.
Yeah, clear.
Just go through it once again. So if you have any questions, we'll discuss again and again. No issue. Until unless we'll get understand, I will explain you.
Venkat, can you just make click overview on this inbound variable? This is all right.
What inbound variable?
Okay.
Inbound connector, huh?
Yeah, yeah, all inbound connectors.
All inbound connectors.
Uh,
Okay.